But, you know, Lyndsay, we've been talking about the importance of the Senate runoff races in Georgia, and the numbers are proving it. More than 1.1 million ballots have already been cast in early voting over there. In just over an hour from now, Donald Trump Jr. will be leading a rally for Georgia Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. Senator Perdue joins us now. Senator, welcome back to the show. Good to see you.
Hi, Sean.
All right, so in just over an hour, you're going to be with Don Jr. You're rallying the troops, and for good reasons. As I just mentioned, Reuters reported that over 1.1 million ballots have been cast in early voting. Dems are making a big claim about registering new voters. I want to play you what Stacey Abrams said earlier.
We know from the numbers that we're in a good place. 1.2 million absentee ballots have been requested thus far. And just to put that into context, 1.3 million were requested for all of the general election. And of that 1.2 million, 85,000 of those applications are from voters who did not vote in the general election, and they are disproportionately between the ages of 18 and 29 and disproportionately people of color.
Senator Perdue, Stacey Abrams sounds really confident, right? There's a lot of these people. These were close races on both your race and Senator Loeffler's race. And, you know, she's saying there are 85,000 new people that are young, of color. She thinks favor them. Where do you guys see the race right now?
Sean, we won this race by 2 points back in November, and we heard Stacey Abrams say the same sorts of things back then in October. Look, we're out here on a 125-stop bus tour, taking our message to the people of Georgia about getting out the vote. We want them to know what's at stake here. We're the last line of defense here. I'm very confident that we're going to get our voters out in January 5th. We're already seeing it now. Every day, the numbers are getting better for our side in early voting. The Democrats are behind where they were in November. There's no question about that right now. So independent of the rhetoric, independent of the polls, we believe the people of Georgia know what's at stake on our side, and we're going to step up and do it.
You know, I talked a lot leading up to the general election about the importance of ground game, right? Those people who knock on the doors, who put up the signs. What does the ground game look like on your side right now?
Well, we have the strongest ground game in Republican history right here in Georgia. We've already litigated all the issues. The candidate comparisons have been made. We're right now in nothing but an outright trench warfare game with regard to getting our side's votes out. The ground game is all important. We have over 40,000 volunteers, full-time volunteers here in the state. We've hired over 1,000 people full-time doing nothing but knocking on doors and are assigned specific names, addresses, phone numbers to get these people out to vote. We do that, we're going to do just fine January 5th.
You know, Senator, I saw this sort of rather shocking story in town hall. Your opponent, Jon Ossoff, has apparently business ties to a company that's partially owned by the Chinese government. That's something that I think would alarm any voter on any side of the aisle. How's that being received among Georgia voters?
Sean, there are a lot of questions around that. We brought that up in the general election. We couldn't get the national media, the liberal media, to even talk about it. But this scandal in Ossoff's camp that could make Swalwell and Biden you know, pale in comparison. This is a young man that worked for 2 years for the Chinese Communist Party, hid it from the voters of Georgia until he was caught, then disclosed it in a federal filing, and then lied about it. So there are a lot of unanswered questions. How much did he make? What was the real relationship? What was his relationship to China Unicom, which we know to be one of the largest cyber perpetrators in the world? This is a guy for 2 years worked for the Chinese Communist Party and has not come clean about that yet. So we want some answers here in Georgia.
Yeah, well, you deserve them. That's not something that should be taken lightly by voters, that if someone has connections, I mean, the Swalwell thing, I can't believe is getting blown over. But the idea that he is not being held accountable for connections to Chinese funded government activity in a business that he was involved in, it blows my mind. But when you think it can't get worse, here's what he said when it came to immigrants in the minimum wage. Take a listen.
When federal agents arrive at one of these farms, it should be to make sure people are being paid the minimum wage, working in humane conditions. We should have gratitude for those who keep us fed, who toil in the fields, and show humanity and compassion for those who are a part of our society but living in the shadows.
Senator, let me ask you, what do Georgia voters think about something like that?
Well, we know that he's down in South Georgia the last couple of days. I think it's the first time the boy's ever been in South Georgia. He wouldn't know a farm if he looked at one. I grew up on one. I can tell you this right now. This is the hypocrisy of the Democrats is just amazing to me. You know, he also has been exposed as wanting blanket amnesty. He wants a total lockdown. And when asked what he would do to help people in Georgia, including farmers, get through the back half of this pandemic, he said, "Oh, I don't want to get bogged down in details." So this is the guy that really just will be a rubber stamp for Chuck Schumer as he tries to perpetrate this leftist agenda that we're trying now to educate people about in Georgia.
You know, Vice President Biden was on Stephen Colbert's show last night. Here's what he had to say about Hunter Biden. He said, "I'm not concerned about any accusations made against him. It used to get to me. I think it's kind of foul play." Foul play, Senator? He admitted he's under investigation by the FBI for tax evasion, and the vice president's answer is it's foul play by the Republicans, not by his own son.
Look, this has been a major shakedown for years. We saw what happened in the Ukraine. He goes to China on Air Force Two, comes back with a $1.5 billion private equity deal. That doesn't happen with someone that age. So we need to get to the bottom of this. My goodness, for 4 years, they went after anybody related to Donald Trump. And now all of a sudden the hypocrisy, the crocodile tears here about, well, there's nothing here. Let's go get another shiny object. I mean, this is outrageous. The Democrats have the gall to have this kind of hypocritical approach to this thing. We want the answers. Same thing on Swalwell. We see the attacks of the cyber community in China and Russia right now, and to have someone that has been seduced, literally, potentially, by a Chinese spy, combined with what Ossoff is now presenting as an unanswered question about his relationship with Communist China, we really need to get to the bottom of this prior to January 5th, because these 2 Senate seats will determine the majority in the United States Senate. And if any of the viewers really want to help us, go to PerdueSenate.com and help us out. We're going to stand in the breach here against this onslaught.
Yeah, all of these potential nominees, if we don't have the majority in the Senate, the Democrats can jam them through. But Senator David Perdue, Senator Kelly Loeffler, they'll stand up to these Biden nominees. They will make sure that someone holds China accountable. And that's, I think you're right, Senator. Everything's at stake right now, everything that the president's done after the last 4 years. So I hope you and Don Jr. have a fantastic rally down there. Give Don my best. And please get out there and vote. Do everything you can. And Senator Perdue, if I don't see you again, have a very Merry Christmas.
God bless you, Sean. Merry Christmas to you.
You bet. All right.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.